Thank y'all for coming. All the way over here. Good choice. It's really pretty.
Yeah.
Need help?
All bears.
Oh, my face? No, it's turned that way. It's looking that way.
And then I totally, Elizabeth's watching, okay. There we go. There we go.
So that's what they can see.
Later, maybe
Hmm?
about a quarter till 2. That's on the that said that it would be on that page, and we were running late, leaving the.
So I shared it.
I didn't get around to sharing it. I was driving. So there's just one other left now. One of the younger ones who was next to him was Norman, and he's in nursing.
Especially when they were
This year we could be doing this, that, or the other.
It's definitely hard to adjust whenever we've been. I mean, it wasn't just that he was here on Earth, he was an integral part of my life.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, that's what Barry, whenever
God and country music, like whiskey and a prayer, like Johnny Cash's arm around Billy Graham. God and country music, they both never really change. You find them when you need them, where you stand. There's always lost in the found, darkness in the eyes saw the light. It's living in those small towns, in some church or back road honky tonk tonight. It's a dance between sin and the salvation. Come hell or high water, there's two things still worth saving: God and country music. God and country music. God and country music, they both show you the truth. They've seen the low of the valley and the highs of the mountains too. Folded hands and guitar strings, jukebox preachers and angels sing. Call you like they knew you, between the hell and hallelujah. There's always lost in the found, darkness in the eyes of the light. It's still living in those small towns, in some church or back road honky tonk tonight. It's a dance between the sin and the salvation. Come hell or high water, there's two things still worth saving: God and country music. God and country music. There's always lost in the found, darkness in the eyes of the light. It's still living in those small towns, in some church or back road honky tonk tonight. It's a dance between the sin and the salvation. Come hell or high water, there's two things still worth saving: God and country music. God and country music. God and country music. Country music.
Good afternoon. I'd like to thank everyone for coming. Paul Robert Goodman, 52, of Kerrville, Texas, passed from this life on May 1st, 2020. Paul fought a year-long battle with brain cancer, along with the heavy tolls it took on his previously active body and lifestyle. Paul was born July 1st, 1967, in Corpus Christi, Texas, to Robert and Hazel Wood Goodman. He was the second of 5 children, having 4 sisters. After moving to East Texas, Paul attended school at Leggett ISD from 1st to 8th grade. He showed a strong interest in mechanical things and engines, rebuilding 2 mini bikes and a motorcycle, and at age 13, working a job changing flat tires at Jackie's Oilfield Service in Leggett. In 1981, Paul moved to San Antonio and lived with his uncle, Bobby Joe, and his aunt, Beverly Wood, who dedicated many years to his continued upbringing. There he attended Antonian College Preparatory High School, graduating in 1985. He worked for his uncle's western wear store, Harry's, during high school, becoming skilled at designing beaded belts and shaping cowboy hats. He continued to shape hats for many years for a vendor at the San Antonio Stock Show and Rodeo. Paul worked in San Antonio until the last 10 years, whether running his own lawn business, mechanicking, or climbing trees as Goodman treescapes. Paul ultimately became an ISA certified arborist. In 2012, Paul fell in love with the western slope of Colorado and found a job at Aspen Tree Service in Carbondale. For 6 years, he enjoyed hiking and riding his enduro dirt bike, exploring many of nature's sights, while also caring for trees on multi-million-dollar estates in Colorado. In 2017, Paul achieved what he referred to as his dream job, working as an arborist for the Bass family on their beautiful family ranches in South Texas. In 2018, he purchased his home in Kerrville, Texas. Paul was most proud of being a 2003 baby, having remained sober for over 16 years, maintaining his ISA certification by qualifying by years of experience to sit for a Master Arborist certification, his home in Kerrville, and his 4 nephews and 5 nieces and their accomplishments. Paul really loved country and cowboy music and was a suave country dancer and amateur songwriter. He also loved everything rodeo and was very proud to have a niece who was involved in barrel racing. Paul is survived by his second parents, Uncle Bobby Joe and Aunt Beverly Wood, 4 sisters and brothers-in-law, Laura and Brian Crawford, Ray Jeanette and Varen McLemore, Sharon and Toby Dunn, and Elizabeth and Jim Fife. Nephews, Eric McLemore, James Fife, Justin Dunn, and Charles Fife. Nieces, Emily Lusk, married to Bradley Lusk, Anna Fife, Sophia Fife, Michaela Dunn, and Rose Fife. Great-nephews, Hurley Lusk and Cash Scroggins, and cousins, Terry Dunham and Diane Demma. Paul was preceded in death by both parents, his Aunt Lynn Dunham and Uncle Dick Dunham, and his great-nephew, Case Scroggins. Thank you.
Paul touched a lot of lives. From south in San Antonio, Texas, through Kerrville, up to Colorado, many places far in between. As of this morning, the announcement on Facebook about Paul's passing had reached 9,343 people and had 4,511 engagements. It's a lot of people. We know that with the distance for so many and the social distancing situation, only a tiny percent of the people whose lives were touched by Paul will be here to remember and celebrate his life. He has some close friends and brothers who were able to be with us here today for that year. The outpouring of love and kind words on Facebook has been overwhelming, and we would like to share with you some of the things that have been said. Paul Goodman, you were a good man, salt of the earth and humble. I'm glad I had a chance to know you and to climb with you. Rest easy. I am devastated to hear of Paul's passing. I met Paul over 30 years ago in San Antonio through a mutual friend. We quickly became good friends and we worked together for almost 8 years. In that time, Paul was my closest and best friend. He was humble to a fault, to the point of self-degradation sometimes. He didn't think of himself as smart, but I knew differently. He taught me many things about engines and lawn care, as well as how to be a good person. I think that at his core, that is what Paul was. Probably the truest friend and most empathetic and sweet person I have ever had the privilege of calling my friend. It saddens me that he is no longer with us. The world is a sadder place for him. I love you, Paul. I wish I had been able to come see you after your accident. I will regret it always. Paul was a very good and gentle soul. I am proud to say that Paul and I became friends about a good 20 years ago via the AA program. We both began to change our lives, and Paul was always such a pleasure to talk to. In recovery, we became family in a way that has its own meaning. I'm saddened that I will have to wait till my time comes to talk to him again. I have been very blessed to have Paul's love and support over many, many years. I am grateful to have known him and that he was a part of my recovery. People like Paul save lives. He will truly be missed. I never got to know Paul personally, as we live on the other side of the world, but we have communicated over Facebook for 10 years. I have learned that he has sadly passed away yesterday. Paul was an inspiration to other climbers, is how he loved and worked. Brother, you will be sadly missed, and I hope to meet you in heaven. Paul Goodman was one of the best things about geezers and climbing competition. I remember driving to Shaver Lake with my VW packed with gear. My car's cooling system went out. He offered a place to sleep, help fixing, and anything else I needed. I continued driving slow just to make sure I made it. He checked on me the whole trip and made sure I was good, knowing I was scared to go back to work after my accident. He was a good man. Paul Goodman was a great example to us all as a great arborist and human being. Paul became a friend even though we never met in person. I was blessed to have connected with him and assisted with his dream job, as he called it, working for the bass. He loved his mom and was proud to tell me about her. His excitement about buying his new home was a great man. He lived up to his last name better than anybody could. You are missed. Thank you for being my #1 Carbondale dance partner. I'll never forget having my first and only experience being twirled around so skillfully that folks parted into a circle to enjoy the spectacle. You made me feel like a cowgirl princess that evening. Thank you. So difficult to believe that the same man that could fearlessly conquer towering trees in the mountains has left us for greater heights. No more pain or suffering, my friend. He was a good man. I met him in Colorado, a very soft-spoken man. He knew how to be a friend. I'll sure miss him. Paul was a great man. It was an honor to call him a brother. My friend Paul Goodman shared his life, heart, dancing shoes, kindness, mistakes, and humor. Thank you for being such a good friend to me. There is definitely a hope. I don't have the words right now to best describe him. He was one of the toughest guys I've known. He loved climbing big trees and taking excellent pictures and riding his motorcycle through the mountains. Rest in peace now, Paul Goodman. You're a loved and missed. Words cannot describe how much of a wonderful positive influence he had on my life. I was blessed to see all sides of this man, the good and bad sides. We met a few years ago on Facebook, then at the NATCC in Longmont, Colorado. From there, our friendship grew. Looking back at the last few years of my life, I can honestly say that Paul gave me direction and saved me from myself. I grew in ways I never knew were possible, all because Paul welcomed me in his life. He will be dearly missed. I love you, brother. Got to know Paul when he would come for the Geezers Legends competitions. He'd stay at my house these last few years, and so loved being around his family tree. I'll miss the friendships we had. He was one of the best and truly had a heart of gold. I know he is climbing with the angels, sending my loves and prayers. He is missed. Rest in peace, Paul. Goodbye, my brother. I shall see you on the broad highway, where you will surely be cutting rugs, tinkering with engines, climbing tall trees, and smiling your wonderful big-hearted smile. On a personal note, many years ago, I was able to go with Paul on a late night, early morning trip to San Antonio. We had a long time to talk. Well, he talked, obviously. It was one of our best trips. When my son was young, he was in NASCAR. Paul got us tickets to go see the races in Greece. And that was another great experience. He was at our house, and if you know he was about 6'2", 3, 4. He asked me to borrow an undershirt, which I did, but did, and I laughed. Believe it or not, those things stretch out. He did work. But, most of all, he told me, he looked at me and he said, "Thank you for loving my sister, and thank you for taking care of my sister. And that I will always remember." Sorry. No, I'm supposed to happen. If anybody else has something they would like to say, or friend, or something that would like to be said.
My name is James, and I met Paul in recovery, and I had to write down what I thought I'd want to say because I didn't think I could do it any other way. And I couldn't bring myself to reread it either to correct anything, so here goes. I had the pleasure of knowing Paul for 16 and a half years. Looking back at those years together, I'm filled with countless memories of times that we have laughed and cried, loved and grieved, worked hard, and did a bunch of nothing together. I learned quite a bit from and about this man. I saw and came to love and respect a man who was not afraid to take risks. Over time, I learned that Paul did not quite belong to this world. He was functioning on an entirely different plane of existence. Paul knew in his heart and soul, like many of us, the importance of an honest and fair deal, how hard work and perseverance trump a shortcut every time. That rain or shine, a brother is still a brother, but unlike many of us, he acted out these things in his deeds without fail. He seemed to be misunderstood by many, but it was only for these truths. When I met Paul, he was a shell of a man. He was broken in so many ways that I wondered if he would ever become whole again. It was through his recovery that he taught me that no matter how broken I am or you are today, that a good life lies ahead of us if we don't stop trudging. Paul was a walking contradiction. His mind was overly complicated, yet his actions simple and pure. Paul spent countless hours designing, deriving, and contemplating, always trying to grasp the biggest picture possible in any given situation. And when he finally got there, he would default to a kind gesture of brotherly love. I don't know what the next life is supposed to look like, but I'm pretty sure his old dog Bear is waiting to lick Paul in the face. I would like to think that in heaven, folks might understand the meaning of a handshake, the necessity of a hug, and the feeling that comes from an ear-to-ear smile from a brother when you're in need of a little positivity. A place like that is a perfect place for our dear friend, our brother, who has always understood these simple truths, these uncomplicated actualities. That is the world Paul lived in while we were all so busy being busy. I'm glad you made it safely home, Paul. Please save me a seat and keep the coffee pot on.
My name is Ivan. I also knew Paul through our recovery family. James, myself, and Paul, and a couple of other people all met at the same time in 2003 time period. And as we were contemplating and looking back, out of that litter was just a few of us left. But we always call each other to call others and keep in touch and check up on people especially Paul. James and I would call each other randomly. Have you checked on Paul? Have you checked on Paul? Better call Paul. I don't remember exactly when I met him. I just know that my sponsor and his sponsor had the same sponsor, if that makes any sense. And our grand sponsor just passed away last year. I told my sponsor the other day, I said, I wonder if he's up there giving him a hard time. We did a lot of what we call 12-step calls, which is running around in the middle of the night, going to detoxes and hospitals and picking up drunks and helping them out. That was our life. It still is to a certain extent. Hanging out at Denny's, very late night, so many nights, so much coffee. Holidays, the club that we congregated at, they held festivities for people without family, and there was many holidays. Where it was just me and Paul and a few other friends. 4th of July, we'd go all out and buy a bunch of fireworks. He always had a childlike feature to him. His goofy laugh and his smile. I saw him dance once and that's all it took. I said, I can't watch anybody else dance. Nobody's gonna top that. In our sponsor family, we were taught 3 basic principles for living right. And the only way to tell that I am living right is that if I can sleep peacefully at night. And our sponsors told us, trust God, clean house, and help others. They said that's all you got to do every day. You know, a lot of people have asked me recently, how did Paul die? What did he die from? In the past, I used to wonder why people would ask something like that. And it dawned on me that because that's, in our world, a heroic thing to do, is to go through whatever is going on and pass without taking a drink. I want to read something real quick that in the first year, probably first year and a half of our friendship, our brotherhood, Paul gave me a bookmark. And the other night I stayed up looking for it through boxes and I couldn't find it, but I did end up finding it online, and I would like to read it. It says, God in his wisdom selected this group of men and women to be the purveyors of his goodness. In selecting them, through whom to bring about this phenomenon. He went not to the proud, the mighty, the famous, or the brilliant. He went instead to the humble, to the sick, to the unfortunate. He went right to the drunkard, the so-called weakling of the world. What might he have said to us? Unto your weak and feeble hands I have entrusted a power beyond estimate. To you has been given that which has been denied the most learned of your fellows. Not to scientists or statesmen, not to wives or mothers, not even to my priests or ministers, have I given this gift of healing other alcoholics, which I entrust to you. It must be used unselfishly. It carries with it grave responsibility. No day can be too long. No demands upon your time can be too urgent. No case be too pitiful. No task too hard. No effort too great. It must be used with tolerance, for I have restricted its application to no race, no creed, and no denomination. Personal criticism you must expect. Lack of appreciation will be common. Ridicule will be your lot. Your motives will be misjudged. You must be prepared for adversity. For what men call adversity is the ladder you must use to ascend the rungs toward spiritual perfection. And remember, in the exercise of this power, I shall not exact from you beyond your capabilities. You are not selected because of exceptional talents. And be careful always, if success attends your efforts, not to ascribe to personal superiority that to which you may lay claim only by virtue of my gift. If I had wanted learned men to accomplish this mission, the power would have been entrusted to the physician and scientist. If I had wanted eloquent men, there would have been many anxious for the assignment. For talk is the key with which I have endowed mankind. If I had more qualified men than you, who would have been available? You were selected because you have been the outcasts of the world, excuse me, and your long experience as drunkards has made, or should make you humbly alert to the cries of the distress that come from the lonely hearts of alcoholics everywhere. Keep ever in mind the admission you made on the day of your profession in AA, namely that you were powerless, and that it was only with your willingness to turn your life and your will unto my keeping that relief came to you. Paul lived that. I was with him at his last meeting. I dragged him to his last meeting. And it always felt like the old times. I love you.
Is there anyone else?
So, a lot of you probably already know me as Paul's little barrel racer niece. He was beyond proud of every little accomplishment, and he helped me along the way. He drove all over Texas looking at horse trailers for me. And he helped us buy our first one. He taught me how to hitch up a trailer and how to back it up. And he held our hand as we were just getting started with horses. One of my first little barrel play days, we brought a friend along, and she placed ahead of me. And I remember after that night, Uncle Paul looked at me and he said, "Quit hauling the competition." When I had just gotten my current barrel horse, he took me to my first little rodeo because he was so anxious to see me compete. Again, I say first rodeo because we were not that good yet. But it didn't matter to him. He was so proud to show me off to his friends and just to watch me run. He shared lots of my accomplishments on Facebook, and every run I posted, you knew there was going to be a comment from Uncle Paul saying, "Great job, way to go, way to stretch her out in," or some complicated text about how I kept my balance or got around the first barrel. He was most proud when I won my saddle last year. When he was in the hospital in San Antonio, he told every nurse and every doctor that I was his niece that barrel raced, and that I had just won a saddle. And he did that again when he went to rehab, and again when he went to radiation. He was a major part of my support system, and I'm thankful for that. He liked to give to others a lot, whether it be supporting a local business or a good cause, or just giving his time to those he loved. He gave lots of time to everybody, whether it be phone calls, text messages, or just being there to help you change a flat. It was always something he could give his time to. I remember when we went to the South Central Texas Rodeo Hall of Fame event, and he wanted to support the organization and buy something. But of course he wasn't willing to spend the money on himself, so he decided to buy something for me instead. And then he couldn't decide whether to buy me a shirt or a cap, so he just bought both. I will miss having him to call whether I need help with the sticky trailer door or finding the right hat. Now that I have a well-trained 2D barrel horse, I'm sad that I won't get to share my journey with him and go back to his favorite little local rodeo and win this time. Thank you.
We're two of Paul's younger sisters. He's our only big brother, so excuse me when we can't talk well enough for you to understand our great stories that we have. We're going to try to share some things from our childhood memories as kids growing up with the Paul that you know and seeing the things that have been there throughout his whole life.
And knowing that growing up with four sisters as the only boy may be the root cause of some of his problems. We can take some blame. It was tough growing up as the only boy, but we ran and did the boy stuff with him just as hard as he tried to play dolls with us. and we enjoyed all his activities and did everything as a clan, usually, and ran through the woods. And special memory, all of us as growing up is we had our own sand road with very little traffic, and we had Paul's Tonka toys, a lot of Tonka toys, and we would be all over the road with our whole entire town built from the Tonka toys, and the cars would have to drive around on the grass to get around us because they couldn't destroy our town.
Along those lines, I recall we weren't spoiled with pre-made Barbie castles, and so we built our own Barbie doll houses with towels and Mom's Avon perfume bottles, and Reginette's a decorator, and so we decorated houses and built them more than we played Barbie dolls, or we dressed them with clothes that our mom and grandmother made for all of our dolls. But Paul didn't know how to fit into that world that we lived in, but he did know how to wire a Barbie doll house. And he took his little light bulbs and wired them, and we may be the only house that had electricity and lights in our Barbie doll houses. We also, like she said, we joined in outside. We grew up in the country, just on 3.5 miles down the used to be a dirt road here, and we went miles exploring in the creeks. We had pine cone bikes. If you've never had one of those with Paul, you missed out. It was dangerous. And we rode bikes all over the country. I'm sorry. Is it still going? Okay. In addition to the things that we did together, one of the things that I remember doing a lot with Paul individually was, he worked on a lot of rebuilding mini bikes and motorcycles. As a pretty young, kid, and so while he was working on his projects, I was the one who got to hold the wrenches and get yelled at if something didn't want to come loose or tighten like it should. And but I spent a lot of time with Paul doing that, and unfortunately I didn't come away with much of any mechanic knowledge out of that. But it's not his fault. And I have a couple of memories related to that. One of them was he liked to move things around from different bicycles and different things that we had. And one day, he wanted to use the seat off of my bicycle, and I didn't want to let him. And so he assured me, I will put another seat on it so you can still use your bike.
so I went out there later that day, and sure enough, he had put another seat on my bike, but it was a long, skinny 1970s banana seat on my 10-speed bike. And I had to ride it like that until I had enough of being laughed at. And another story, he actually was willing at one point to try to teach me to ride his motorcycle that he had rebuilt. And so he spent some time showing me how to put it in gear and use the clutch and the throttle, and he showed me for a while, coached me there, and finally felt like I was ready to take it down the road a little bit on that dirt road. And he swears, when he told the story still last year, that as he watched me go up that hill, that his rebuilt engine was burning bright hot red the whole way up. And no, I never did find that gear, and I never did ride his motorcycle again. So yeah, that was a kind of his definitely he had the mechanic in him, and he had some success in that too before his tree climbing. And Sharon was his buddy because she was a lot more patient with him, and that's the kind of relationship they had. And we were just about a year apart, and Paul and I, he liked tormenting me, and I liked screaming. It was fun. But anyway, my story I wanted to share was actually at the time we wouldn't have known it, but he was a natural born tree climber, and swinging up in the treetops in Aspen, Colorado, above a canyon was probably what he was destined to do. He could climb a pine tree barefoot, bare hand, shimmy it up like it was nothing, and there aren't any lower limbs on a pine tree. And don't know if I've ever seen anybody else who could do that. And my main memory is we had big ditches that washed out, and a big pine tree on the edge of the ditch, so I was down in the ditch, and it looked even taller to me. He had shimmied up that, bare-chested, barefoot. That top low limb that's gonna break off, that's dead. He goes, "Great Jeanette, dare me to step out on this limb." I was like, "No." He was like, "Yeah, dare me to step out on that limb." And I was like, "No, it's gonna break, Paul, and then you're gonna blame me." Well, I'm just gonna say that you dared me to do it. And I witnessed it. And he stepped out on the dead limb, and sure enough, it broke. And of course, he had enough sense and balance about him. He hugged that tree all the way down, and skipped chest and everything else. And I was not there to be caught. Because the first thing he did, he didn't say, "Woe is me, I'm straight from head to toe." He took off running, and I knew he ran faster than me. So, but along with that too, because he could shimmy up a pine tree. Local folklife festival had a grease pole climbing contest for young boys, and he had decided that he wanted to win that. And I think you said that the winner of it went to our school, and he even went around and asked him advice on how to win that, because he was determined, and he used every technique he could to win it. I think he made a tide. I've never seen two boys, but especially him, more determined to get up that grease pole and win that. And I think they ended up calling it a tie. But I mean, that was him. Perseverance, and nothing's going to stop him. But he showed that he was just meant to do that. And he could fly high. We were kind of
forget that experience. We remember as kids going to the movie theater to see the Apple Dumpling Gang. And Paul laughed, and he laughed, and he laughed so hard that before we knew it, the rest of the theater audience wasn't laughing at the movie. They were laughing at Paul, laughing at the movie, and laughing with him because it was so funny. But we witnessed that at home all the time, whether it was cartoons that he found especially funny or comedy shows. I don't remember seeing anyone laugh at Don Rickles like Paul could. I don't remember seeing anyone laugh a little bit older, we were a little bit older at deadpan comedian Stephen Wright. He laughed and laughed, and you could just mention their names and he would laugh. And that's how Paul lived, was what he felt you saw, and it was contagious.
I didn't have as much time to prepare what I wanted to say. But everybody knows Paul, country music, dance. There seems to be three themes throughout his life, and I'm a seamstress, and I think of fabric, and I think of tapestries. And the tapestry of Paul, I see throughout everybody in his Facebook posts and everything else that music was such a part of him, and dancing seemed to be a place of solace or an escape or maybe just a happy place. So dance was a very big part of the music that lived within him, is how he expressed it. We have a deep love of music throughout our family, and I think I have a connection to him through that because there's always a tune playing in my head, and there's always seems to be a music to a background to a memory, and his memories seem to be connected to a song or a place or a friend. And there's tons of friends, and they were just acquaintances. They were just people. Oh, I met this guy, at this place. It was this guy with a name who I've kept in touch since then, and he's a friend of mine. And since then, I did this for him, and it was more than acquaintance with everybody. And you can see that on his Facebook, and you can see that everywhere. I'm sorry, I wasn't prepared. I need to find my the music part and the friendship part joined together because he became an amateur songwriter or poet. He got that naturally. I think our grandmother wrote poetry, and we have others in our family that kind of write his songs. And he put down words to a song that I kind of felt like really expressed, and it may be addressed to a woman, but actually it was addressed to all the friends in his life, and can definitely take that hit. A good friend. She told me to stand tall and be proud of who I am, all that I accomplished in my life. Everything I've done that most folks will never get to do, both because of courage and the fear factor too. She told me to stand tall and be proud of it all the things that I've been through in my life. She told me to stand tall and be proud of who I am, that I'm blessed and God had someone else in store. She reminded me of the good times and how I had the gift of dance and how I used to glide across the floor. She reminded me of an angel as she picked my spirits up. She took away my doubt as she walked into the room. She told me to stand tall and be proud of who I am. She said that I had always been kind and a thoughtful man. But without her thoughts of encouragement along the way, I wouldn't even be here to sing this song today. She told me to stand tall and be proud of who I am. Look at stand tall and be proud of who I am. She told me to stand tall and be proud of it all. She told me to stand tall and be proud of who I am, and because of her, I am a stronger man. Yes, because of her, I've become a better man. She told me to stand tall and be proud of who I am. And that applies to every friend that Paul has had, because he is and has the accomplishments because other people gave him the confidence he lacked, and they gave him his friendship and reinforced the fact of all his talents and all his abilities, because they trusted him in himself more than he did.
This is a writing that was on a plaque that Paul took a picture of in Colorado. It said on the plaque that it was written by Dr. Seuss, and there's conflicting information on whether that was actually by Dr. Seuss, but whoever wrote it, we give him credit. It impacted Paul enough that he took a picture, and I think it's appropriate today. Life is too short to wake up in the morning with regrets. So love the people who treat you right, forgive the ones who don't, and believe that everything happens for a reason. If you get the chance, take it. If it changes your life, let it. Nobody said it would be easy. They just promised it would be worth it. We've heard beautiful tributes about every aspect of Paul, and as we all know, Paul was a very complicated person. He lived, like I said, life full throttle. When he drank, and when he quit, he quit. When he decided he loved Colorado while he was there on vacation, he was putting the job applications in the day after he got home. And in a matter of weeks, he had a job lined up, and he was boogieing out of Texas. We are so thankful that Paul lived his life fully. Everything he did, from vacationing at the Grand Canyon and seeing the giant redwoods, which, by the way, I had to worry while he was there that he was sizing up one of those trees with an itch to climb it, despite the restrictions. He finally convinced himself it was for the better health of the tree if he didn't. Otherwise, he would have a picture from the top of a redwood tree. To traveling each year to Florida, to his beloved geezers, now called legends, climbing competition, and making it to Puerto Rico and basking in the sun with shorts on that we didn't even know that he owned. We are so glad he traveled and enjoyed God's beautiful creation. Paul loved his job as an arborist, and he loved climbing trees and caring for trees. He worked hard and he played hard. He lived life full of throttle. On June 9th, 2019, Paul's active physical lifestyle was snatched from him. The job he loved at the Bass Ranches, his hopes to visit again in Colorado, or to go to Legends in Florida, hiking, climbing, dancing, all the things that Paul loved and that kept him going were taken from him. During the months of surgeries and rehab last year, Paul's physical therapist struggled to get him to just cooperate with their plans for him. He had ideas about how he could do things, and he was already trying to do them. He would tell the therapists who had PhDs a better way,
for him to get from here to here with his new disabilities. He physically amazed them because he was so fit, but he had a bigger battle because he was hit with 2 whammies and he had brain cancer. And he was still struggling to find the will to fight that. As he went, his rehab therapists and doctors more and more realized how important music was in Paul's life and how it could be a part of healing on his journey. They referred him to a music therapist whose name was Megan Morrow. Megan quickly learned about his love of country and cowboy music and the songwriting that he had done with them. She worked with Paul and collaborated with him to put down the music that he had in his head to go with the lyrics that he had already written. She brought out her guitar, and they practiced and they recorded his song together. Megan wrote to me this week when she heard of Paul's passing. I'm so sorry to hear this news. He was one of my favorite people to work with at TIER. He was a great storyteller. Shout. He was a great storyteller and songwriter. I wish that I could have seen him dance. Today, we would like to share their recording with Paul singing with you for the first time. And that's the lyrics that you have are his lyrics for you to follow along. Paul called this Dance Away the Pain.
Helps him feel the pain no more. When he's dancing, he's not alone. That's what their memory cuts him to the bone. He hides his pain with a smile. Be the friend she helps him feel the pain no more. Dancing seems to bring him, feeling the music in his soul, moving his feet across the helps him feel the pain no more.
Guess the speaker's dead. That's all right. I'm loud enough as it is. I mean, Paul and me shared a few things in common. Love for his sister, my wife, Ray Jeanette. Music. Of course, I liked Elvis. He liked Alison Krauss, as you'll hear. So, and when y'all, we've heard all about his climbing abilities and everything. I brought this, and I just want you to understand or think about. Paul was 52 years old. This is heavy. This is not the heaviest that he owned. I could have brought it, but it would have hurt my back again. You know, this goes up to the top of the trees. You know, you got to pull this up, pull this down. You know, you got carabiners over. Well, the lightest thing on here are aluminum, and that's what would save his life if he fell or something that, you know, didn't work right. But with Paul, you knew it was going to work right. You may not know how that right was, because it was going to be right in his mind. So he could re-engineer stuff, and he would tell you how he did it, and you're like, huh? So you've heard a lot about him. Paul to me was a brother-in-law, but what I came away from the relationship with him was there were two Pauls. You've heard that. There was either here or there. There was really no in between. I mean, there's just so many conflicting thoughts that you would have about him. The last year of his life, I had some private conversations with him. You know, he went from hauling this up a tree on Saturday morning, hauling it down a tree, helping somebody out. He was helping somebody out. Because he complained he didn't charge him enough or didn't get paid or what. So that night, and where I'm getting to here is that for Paul, I thought of the only term I thought of for him, or not the only, just wait, no, was why not? Paul went from climbing a tree, helping a friend out, to falling out of his two-wheel drive truck and paralyzing himself. So I mean, you know, he had a four-wheel drive truck that he could have fell out of. No, he fell out of a two-wheel drive truck, paralyzed himself. You know, so when we were talking about some of the things that have gone on with him, you know, I came to the term, why not? He could have fell out of a tree 100 foot tall and probably broke an arm. But he fell out of a truck and broke his neck. And so all these things that you've heard about that he wanted to do and things like that were taken away. Not only was he paralyzed, found out he had a brain tumor in the same day, but he had to quit smoking at the same exact moment. So Paul had a lot on his plate. We hear about his 4 sisters, having private conversations with them over here. He had 2 brothers. He had some great employers. He had some great friends. From my standpoint, thank you. He had a second set of parents. Not many people get to have. You know, he lived with Bobby Joe and Beverly. I don't think it was all sunshine and roses and rainbows, but they stuck with him. Y'all are impressive for what y'all did for him. Thank you. He had 3 sisters that were able to help in their own way. He had a team. Did he make that team work? Yes. Did he help out? Most of the time, no. He had it, like Sharon said about the PhD people, he had a different way, a different thought, a different idea of how things should go. And if you didn't do it exactly like what he thought, he made his nephew proud in some of those sailor words he knew. He was in the Navy. My son was in the Navy. But through all that, you know, he's still our friend, our family. I made the statement that I don't know if they broke the mold when they made Paul. James corrected me and said they broke the mold when they made Paul. They broke the mold with his sickness. So we can be frustrated, just as he was frustrated with some of the things that happened towards the end of his life. But none of us have had to deal with that. We're glad he's not suffering anymore. We're thankful that this is over for him. It was a long, hard journey. But through the love of his sisters, the love of his friends, Facebook, you know, is people want to badmouth big business sometimes, but wow, look at his Facebook post. He connected through that. 9,000, none of us are going to get 9,000 likes. And Paul could be a jerk sometimes. So, he liked Stephen Wright, you know. Found that out later. Stephen Wright was a type that you have to stop and think about something. You know, Paul would be the one, and one of Stephen Wright's jokes that would be, went and I interviewed for a job, and he asked the guy, said, let me ask you something. You were traveling in a car at the speed of light, and you turned on your lights. Would they work? The guy potential employer said, I don't know. And he said, well, I don't want to work for you. So, you know, I guess if I were going to leave you with something from my perspective, if I can, Stephen Wright said he rolled over in bed one day and told his girlfriend, said he was going out for a walk. She asked, how long are you going to be gone? He said the whole time. Paul, how long are we going to miss you? The whole time. You're gone. Till we meet again. Thank you.
In this world, I walk alone, with no place to call my home. But there's one who holds my hand, the rugged road through barren lands. The way is dark, the road is steep, but he's become my eyes to see, the strength to climb, my griefs to bear. The Savior lives inside me there. In your love I find release, a haven from my unbelief. Take my life and let me be a living thief.
I'm going to try this again. Hopefully I'll be better. Unfortunately, I wasn't blessed with the good vocal cords that Farron has, so I'll try to speak a little louder. Hopefully folks can hear me back there. I did want to mention that Paul had mentioned Sharon back in December of 2018 that he was baptized. He didn't have that many. I'd like to read something. It's probably the epitome of Paul. There's none that are perfect. No, not one. Not you, not I, not anyone. We all have our faults, and Paul would let you know his too. But I'd like to read from Romans 3. I'll start with verse 1. What advantage then hath the Jew? Or what is the profit of circumcision? Much every way. First of all, that they were entrusted with the oracles of God. For what if some were without faith? Shall their want of faith make of none effect the faithfulness of God? God forbid. Yea, let God be found true, but every man a liar, as it is written, thou that they mightst be justified in thy words, and mightst prevail when thou countest in judgment. But if our unrighteousness commandeth the righteousness of God, what shall we say? Is God unrighteous, who visiteth with wrath? I speak after the manner of men. God forbid. For then how shall God judge the world? But if the truth of God through my life abounded unto his glory, why am I also still judged as a sinner? And why not, as we are slanderously reported, and as some affirm that we say, let us do evil that good may come? Whose condemnation is just? What then? Are we better than they? No, in no wise. For we before laid the charge both of Jews and Greeks, and we all are under sin. Skipping down to verse 19. Now we know that what things soever the law saith, it speaketh to them that are under the law, that every mouth may be stopped, and all the world may be brought under the judgment of God. Because by the works of the law shall no flesh be justified in his sight. Through the law cometh the knowledge of sin. But now apart from the law, a righteousness of God hath been manifested, being witnessed by the law and the prophets, even the righteousness of God through faith in Jesus Christ, unto all them that believe, for there is no distinction. For all have sinned and fall short of the glory of God, being justified freely by his grace through the redemption that is in Jesus Christ, whom God set forth to be a propitiation through faith in his blood, to show his righteousness, because the passing over the sins done aforetime in the forbearance of God.
Please pray with me. Heavenly Father, it is with most humble hearts we approach you this afternoon. We pray, our Lord, that you will look down upon us with mercy and grace and hear our prayer. Father, we know you are the one true and living God. You envisioned the earth before its creation, and you fashioned it at the command of your voice. You then saw fit to make man in your own image and place him upon your creation. Lord, you established the universe so that it works so perfectly together. Now allow us to reside here until such time you call us home. Father, we are deeply stricken with grief at this time, the passing of Paul. Countless people across the country reckon Paul as their friend. By the outpouring of sentiment since his passing, it's astonishing the number of people who touched with his kindness, gentleness, and humor. Within his family, Paul leaves a deep void for his aunt and uncle who raised him as their own, for his nieces and nephews and great nieces and nephews that he was so proud of, and for his sisters that loved him unconditionally. We thank you, Lord, for Paul, for how he touched our lives and so many others who couldn't be here today. Lord, we would be good to emulate Paul's better qualities in our life, such as kindness and gentleness, and use those attributes to better ourselves and be godly examples to the world. Please help us in that way. Our God, we know that you are most powerful and all-knowing. You see us clearly, each and every one, for who we are and what we are. You know our thoughts and our motives, yet you've made us free agents in this life to think as we please and to do as we please. And because of that freedom, we all have sinned. We fall short of the expectations that you have for us. Except for our Savior, whom you sent to this earth, not a single person that has lived has been without sin. And because of the sin that separates us from you, we are undeserving of any reward that you may have in store. But by our faith and our knowledge that we have from your word, we know that you are a kind and loving Father, a God of grace, and a ruler with mercy. We pray, Lord, that someday we will see Paul again with new heavenly bodies, not stricken with disease or malady. And as this prayer began, we beseech you, O God, have mercy upon your children and bestow upon us your grace. In your Son's name, amen.
That concludes.
I knew the stakes were high right from the start. When she dealt the cards, I bet my heart. Now I just found a game that I can't play, and this is where the cowboy rides away. And my heart is sinking like the setting sun, setting on the things I wish I'd done. It's time to say goodbye to yesterday. This is where the cowboy rides away. We've been in and out of love and in between, and now we played the final showdown scene. And as the credits roll, the sad song starts to play. This is